includes
Nesse vídeo, você vai aprender.
Hello friend, welcome back. In this video, we'll start a new session. It's about that MongoDB. Before all that our sections, we store all the data in array. For the reasons when we refresh this page, all that our inserted data is then gone, right? So for the reasons we need one of the database. Like they have the different type of database as a MongoDB database, SQLs, where you can actually add all the your data. That means you store all your data in particular one of the database table field area. So what exactly that MongoDB? MongoDB is a document or NoSQL database. So in traditional, all that SQLs, like they have some of the tables, they have some of the schema, but in MongoDB, you don't have to panic about it. In MongoDB, they have no table, they have no schema, and also they have no view. We directly store all the data with the JSON format. So don't worry, step by step, MongoDB will be very much clear to you. In this section, we'll discuss about some of the MongoDB functionality, and then we'll create another project in here. I hope you are really excited for learn about the MongoDB. So in our next video, I'm going to discuss about how to install that MongoDB in your local PC. Go to MongoDB official website, that is a mongodb.com. Okay, and here if you go to that products, into this products, that is a community server. If you click as a community server, now you can see into the MongoDB community server that is available downloads. Okay, from here, first of all, you have to download it. So right now, our current version as a 5.0.3 and platform as Windows. I am using that Windows for the reasons I am selected that Windows. If you use that another system, simply select this from here. Okay, right now it's totally fine. I'm using that Windows, and also make that sure that is a package will be as a MSI. And after that, if you click as a download, it will be download one of the exe file. Simple one of the installation process. Just simply click as a next by next. That will be installed successfully in your computer. So make that sure you download this exe file. Okay, make that sure you download your MongoDB exe file and install it in your system. After you install that MongoDB successfully, you have to set up your system environment. For doing this, simply go to your drive. That means where exactly you install it. So I have already installed that MongoDB. If you have to go to your C drive, and I have installed it into the program file. And then here that is installed that as a MongoDB. Okay, I just simply first of all I have to find out it. And that is actually, you can see that is a MongoDB. So into this MongoDB, then the server, and then I installed that 5.0. So now simply open it and then go to that bin folder. So now this address will be needed. Okay, so now I simply select this address. I simply select this total address. I copy it. And now you have to just simply search with the environment. Okay, and that means the system environment. Okay, system. Make it as a system environment. Okay, you can see there is an edit and then the system environment variables. So now first of all you have to open it, and now into this advanced there is option for the environment variable. Now simply select it, and then into the system variable here you have to find out this path. Okay, so simply select this path, and now if you double click it, it will be open. Here we have to add it. Now simply click as a new. And you can see here, I have already copied that path. Now I simply paste this path. Okay, make that sure you add it. That is a MongoDB, our path. That is a programming file, MongoDB server 5.0, and then bin. And now that's all you have to do. Now click as a OK. And now OK. And then I make it as a OK. Great. Now if you want to check it that MongoDB is successfully installed or not, you just simply go to your terminal. Okay, here you can also run that as a PowerShell. That is a PowerShell. You can see the Windows PowerShell. So now I simply open that as our PowerShell, and into this PowerShell area here I want to write down it. So here I want to write down as a Mongo. Okay, Mongo, and then I would double dash and then the version. Okay, if you write down as a Mongo and then double dash and then version. Now click as a enter. If everything okay, then that will be display this type of one of the result. Right now our version name as a 5.0.3, which is totally fine, and then all that basic build information. Great, our MongoDB installed successfully, which is totally fine. And if you face to run anything in our PowerShell area, make that sure you close all that your rest of this terminal. Okay, so first of all, just simply close all the rest of this terminal, and then you can actually run this PowerShell. Rather than some of the time it's actually get some of the error for this. Now I want to go to our compass. When you install that MongoDB in your desktop, that will be created one of the icon. When you create this icon, that means when you run this MongoDB software, then first of all you will get this type of one of the view. Okay, and into this position right now there is an option for the field in collection field individually. Simply select it on here, and by default that is actually display a host name as a local host, the port as a 27017, and then authenticate as a none. So that should be also the same in your PC. And then after that you have to simply connect it. If you click as a connect, now it will be allow you to that is one of the dependent software. I make it as a allow. Now you can see it's now successfully. They have some of the database, they have some of the configuration, and then they have some of the local. So you don't need to worry about all that. That is all the default some of the database as admin, the configure and local. So now whatever the database you will create, you can actually create in particular that position, and all that your database you will get it in here. Okay friend, in our next video I want to discuss about how to create some of the database in MongoDB. Okay, we'll create some of the project, then we'll connect this MongoDB with our project. How can do that work step by step, everything I will show you with the live example. To connect this MongoDB in our project, how can do that work in this video, I will show you that things with the live example. For doing this, I have already created one of the folder as a Mongo. Okay, just simply create one of the folder as an empty folder as a Mongo, or whatever the name actually you choose. Right now I name it as a MongoDB. Okay, so into this MongoDB folder, first of all I want to create one of the project. It's now totally empty. If you go to that view and then go to the terminal, I hope you already know how to create some of the project. So now I want to install some of the project. Like first of all we have to run as a npm, and then init, right, npm init. I want to avoid all that our questions. I make it as a -y. Now click as a enter. Now it will be created one of the package.json file, and you can see it's now successfully created that package.json. And now I want to install one of the another node package as a Mongos. So if you want to install it, then you have to run as a npm install or I, and then the Mongos. Okay, Mongos. So it's one of the package which provides some of the APIs or the method for connecting with the MongoDB. Okay, so that is one of the package as a Mongos. So now I want to install it. Simply click as enter. Now you can see it's now installing all that file. Make that sure you are connected to the internet. It may take little time, and you can see it's now successfully installed. So with this package, in very easy way we can connect with this MongoDB. Now I want to create one of the file. Okay, in our folder I want to create one of the index file, index.js file. Okay, so into this file first of all I want to import this Mongos. So if you want to import, that will be the same process. That will be on the constant variable, and then I name it as a Mongos. Okay, Mongos, and then I want to I make it as a required, right? So that with this required I want to load our package name as a Mongos. Okay, that will be as a Mongos. I simply load it. So if you go to that Mongos documentation, like if you go and then search with this Mongos, okay, mongosjs.com. If you go to that mongosjs.com, now click as enter. Now that is one of the site, actually this one. Okay, mongosjs.com. So into this mongosjs.com, here you can see there is a constant variable. Here we have to record it, and also there is a Mongos connect, and then there is some of the host. Okay, now from here we have to connect it. I simply copy it, and then here in our index file, okay, that means in our index file, after this I simply paste it. So now with this we are able to connect with our MongoDB. If you want to check it, like here I want to there is a Mongos, there is a connect one of the method, and this connect method actually return one of the promises. So when you get any promises, as I told you, now we are able to access that .then and .catch method, right? So I want to access that our .then, okay, .then method. So that is our then method, and into this then method area here, better I want to pass some of the array function. I simply pass on the array function and I just pass one of the name and to do that with the console log. With this console log, I want to pass some of the name as a string text value as a database is connected. Okay, database is connected. So the database is connected. So then that will be displayed this type of one of the message. And I also want to add that as a catch method. So that will be as a catch. And into this catch area, if there have any error, I want to display this error. Okay, I name it as a error. Then our array function, and then in our console error. So that will be as a console and error. Okay, into the console error area, I want to display this error. Simple work. I simply load it. Okay, friend. Now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now I want to run our this file as an index. So if you want to run this file, then if everything okay, that means if database is connected successfully, then that will be displayed as a database is connected, right? In our console log, it should be displayed as a database is connected, rather than that will be displayed on the error message. Simple work. Now if you want to run it, that will be as a node. Okay, node I want to run as index.js. Okay, index.js file, or rather than if you only use that as an index, then that will be totally fine. Now click as enter. Now let's check this out. Yes, you can see it's perfectly now display as a database is connected. I hope, friend, every part is very much clear to you. Here right now we are successfully connected with our connect method. We are successfully connected with our MongoDB, and when it should be perfect, then in our then method area, here it should be displayed as a database is connected, else that should be displayed some of the error. Now when you run our node index, now you can see it's now display our database is connected. That means everything is work perfectly. So in our next video, I will discuss about with these Mongos. Okay, with these Mongos, how can create some of the schema or model. I will show you that things with the discuss about that schema and also the model. So before understanding that schema, you have to know a little bit the Mongo's functionality. Like here, I have created one of the object array, and that is all that our object data. Right, so there is a one name user data, there is another user data. So every our object that is called as a document. Okay, so just simply understand it. So every our object, all that our data, so it's call it as a document, and combine multiple documents, it's call it as a collection, and also combine multiple collection, it call it as a database. Okay, so that is our object. Then combine multiple object, it's call it as a collection, and multiple collection call it as a database. Okay, so now better I put some of the note as a, first of all, that will be as a document. Okay, that will be as a document, and multiple, the combined multiple documents, that will be called as a collection, and then combine multiple collection, that will be called as a database. Okay, friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. That will be as a document. Okay, perfect. I hope you get some of the idea about the documents, collection, and then the database. So now what is exactly that sigma? So in that is our all that object data. So in this object, they have some of the shape. Okay, that means that is one of the documents, you can say. So into these documents, they have some of the shape, and you can manage this shape with our schema. So schema means, in short, schema is a shape of a document. Okay, I make it as a shape of a document. Okay, I hope it's very clear. So schema is a shape of a document. What type of shape it should be? So that will be your schema. So now let's create one of the schema. So if you want to create some of the schema, I hope, friend, you get some of the idea about that documents, collection, and the database. Now I want to create another schema. So if you want to create it, then that will be another constant, and I just name it as a user schema. So that will be on the user schema. So before understanding then schema, I want to do like go to that mongosjs.com, and into this mongosjs.com, if you go to the read the documents, simply go there, and there is a guidelines, and there is the schemas. Okay, if you open that schemas, now you can see, first of all, here you have to import these Mongos, and then there is a constant one of the schema. So that is destructure our schema in here, and then there is a Mongos. You can see that is actually one of the schema, and into this schema area, they have some of the all that field as a title, the author, the body, and then comments. So that is all that our database field, and that is all that our this field type. Okay, that is a title will be as a string type, author will be as a string type, body will be as a string type. So if you want to create this type of one of the schema, then here only you have to do like here. Okay, after this I want to create another schema. Just simply understand, first of all, here I want to create one of the schema. That will be the new, and then the mongos, and then the schema. Okay, I simply loaded that things in here. So now I want to pass all that our field. I take one of the field as a name, and name field will be as a string type. I make it as a string. Okay, so that will be our field name, and that will be our type name. That means a specific this field type name. I take another one as a age, and age will be one of the number type. So I simply loaded that as a number type, and then I take as a is married. Okay, I make it as is married. Is married, and is married will be one of the boolean type, because it will be show on the true or false, right? I make it as a boolean type. Great. And then also I take that another one as a salary. I take that salary will be also one of the number type. I make it as a number. Great. And you can also take it as a gender. I make it as a gender will be one of the string type. I simply loaded some of the database table field, and that will be all that our field type. Here we can actually manage it without this schema. As I told you, that is one of the shape of a document. Okay, what type of documents it will be? Like I want to do, our name will be as a string type, age will be as a number type, is married will be as a boolean type, salary, number, and then gender will be as a string type. Okay, and after that I want to create one of the model. So if you want to create this model, simple work, just simply name it as a constant, and I name it as a user. So here I make that user as a capital, because of all it will be written one of the class. Okay, for the reasons I make it as a user capital letter, and then the mongos, and with this mongos I want to call our model method. So that is our model method. Okay, and into this model area, here I want to first of all I want to add that our model will be as a user, right? That is our user, and into this user area I want to pass all that our scheme database table field. So here I take it with this variable. Now in our model area I pass it. I hope, friend, it's very much clear to you. So here I have created one of the schema, and also I created one of the model. Now with this model, if you want to store some of the data in your database, if you want to get some of the data, everything you can actually do that work with this model. How you can do that work? Better want to continue this process. In our next video, we'll store some of the data in our database. How can do that work? I will show you that things with the live example. I want to create one of the object. Like here, that is all that our field, and this field, all that data I want to create, pass it by the object. And as I told you, that is here I'm actually using that user will be returned one of the class. So if you want to create some of the object from to this class, I hope you already know about it, because we have done it a lot of the time. Then simple, we have to take one of the variable. I just name it as a user, and then I want to define our user. So I simply loaded this user, and into this user area now one by one I want to add all that our field. Okay, like here I have already declared the type, but I copy it and then I paste it. So for the name I want to pass some of the string value in our database as a Aryan. Okay, I name it as a Aryan, and for the age I want to pass another value. I make it as a 40, and for the is married I make it as a false. Okay, I make it as a false, and salary for now I want to make it as a 80k. Okay, 80k, and then the gender I want to make it as a male. Okay, that will be as a male. Okay, so I make it as a male. Great. I hope, friend, it's very clear. So here I created one of the object, and that is all that our field value. Okay, into this area I pass that Aryan 40, and all that our value I simply pass it in here. So now if you want to save all the data in our database, then you have to call another method as a save method. Okay, so here column, and then I want to make it as a user, and user will be with the save method. I want to save all the data in our database. And that will be one of the asynchronous function, because it will be take some of the time, right? It will be hold this total task. So for the reasons better I want to take everything in one function, and then we'll call this function. Okay, then that will be better. I take one of the function and I just name it as store information. If store information, this type of one of the method I simply declare. Okay, and into this method area I want to take everything. I simply cut it, and here I want to paste it. So that will be as a store information. Okay, I simply paste it, and that is one of the asynchronous functions. So here when you pass that any asynchronous function, I have already discussed about that things with you. That will be as a asynchronous. So here you have to add that as a asynchronous, and also here we have to pass it as a await, right? That will be as a await. So aw, that is a await function. Perfect. So I simply pass both of these in here. Okay, now if you want to check it, like here, after that I want to run our this method in here. I simply run this method, and when that will be as executed, when it will be saved this data, I want to display all that our user data. Okay, if you want to display this user data, then simple, I want to do into the console log. So into this console log area here, I want to display our user data. Okay, so user data will be displayed in our console. Now let's check this out. Okay, so if you now click as a save all, I click as a save all, and now if you go to the terminal, I open another new terminal. That is our previous one, better I remove it, and now that is our first one. Okay, so now I want to do, if you want to run it, that will be as a node, and node our index, right? So that is a node index or index.js, whatever you choose. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it's now successfully displayed as a database is connected, and all that our object data, you can see that is all that our object data is successfully now returned in here, because here I have actually displayed with the console log at the user data. And here also there is another field as a ID, and another is a V for the version, and ID will be automatically generated in our database. Okay, that means in our MongoDB database area it will be created this type of one of the unique ID. So this ID is totally unique, and now if you want to check it, it's perfectly store all the data in our database or not. If you want to check it, now go to our database as a MongoDB, and right now there is a 3 database, there is a default all the database. Now if you click as a refresh, yes, now you can see now there is another one as a test. Test is for if you go to our code, in when I create that connection in our localhost, that the MongoDB, I name it as a test. Okay, for the reasons it's now created one of the test type database name, and now if you go, so that is our test, into this test area I have created our model name as a users. That will be actually displayed as a plural. Like if you go here, I name our model name I name it as a user, right? When you, whatever the name you will choose in here, it will be as a plural in here. Okay, you see into this, that is a name as a collection name as a users. If you now open that users, yes, you can see that is automatically generated one of the ID, and that is our name, age, married, salary, and then gender. Every data is now successfully inserted in here. Okay, friend. That means all the data is now successfully inserted in our database. Okay, in our MongoDB is now successfully inserted. So if you want to add some of the query in our this database data, how can add some of the query better in our next video? I will show you that things with the live example about how can add some of the query. Okay, how can add some of the query in our all the database table field area. So if you want to add this query better, I want to add some of the data. So if you want to add another data, simply click as a add data. Now go to that input file, and into this input file I select as a JSON. Okay, into this JSON I want to select one of the file. So if you go to your exercise folder, okay, there is your desktop, there is your exercise file, and into this exercise file I have already shared one of the user data as users.json data. So I simply select it and now open it. Okay, I simply open that user JSON, and that will be one of the JSON format data. And now if you click as the input, now you can see it's now imported completed. That means every data is now successfully imported. You can see there is Aryan, now there is a new one as added as a Kazi, and there is another name. So I simply loaded some of the name in here. Okay, so that is some of the JSON data. So right now I have a 6 data, and from here if you want to change any field name, simply click as a double click, and from here you can simply change that name, and after that if you click as update, then that will be updated. Okay, so right now it's totally fine. Right now there is a 6 data, and first of all I want to add some of the query. Okay, how can do that work? If you want to do that work like here, in particular that positions, right now I want to do and to make everything as a comment out. Okay, I simply make it as a comment out. With pressing that control/ at a time, you can make all the things as a comment out. Great. Here first of all I want to declare one of the function. So that will be as a function, and function name I name it as a fetch information. Okay, fetch information. And for the fetch information I simply created one of the method, and I want to declare this method here. After this I want to declare this method. Okay, I simply declare it. So now that will be one of the asynchronous function, because it should be take some of the time. So for the reasons here I make it as a async. So that will be async, and to load that as a async. Okay, so our first work I want to do into the user model, and into the user model that is all that our data I want to do and to get all the data. So if you want to get all the data, then you have to do, I simply take one of the variable as a constant variable, and into this constant variable I name it as users, and then our model name, if you want to access this model, that will be as await, right? That will be await, and with this await I want to access our user model. Now with this user model I want to add one of the method as a find method. Okay, that will be as a one find method, and into this find method area right now I want to get all data. For the reasons here I make it as a empty. Okay, when you make it as a empty, and now if you want to display it like into the console log, I want to display our user data, then everything will be more clear. That is your console log. Okay, that is your console log. Into this console log area I want to print our this user. Okay, I simply paste it. Great. Now I want to check it. Now if you click as a save all, and now if you want to check it like here, that is our terminal data. I want to run our server again as a node index. Okay, I want to run this node index. Better I close it. Okay, open another new terminal. New terminal is open, so that is our appropriate position. I want to make it as a node index. Okay, node index, click as a enter. Now that should be get all the data. You can see now that is successfully get one data, there is another data, every data is now successfully get, and now is visible in here. So that is all that our array data. So that is all that our array object. Okay, so that is all that our array object data. So I hope it's very much clear to you how you can get one of the particular collection all that documents data. Now all that our collection documents data is visible. So now I want to add another query. Okay, here I want to add another query like in our data. Okay, in our data, if you go again into this data, like some of the is married as a false, and also there is a is married as a true, another one is married as a false, and there is a true, right? I want to do which user is not married. That means the is married is false. I want to get this data. Okay, if you want to get this data, it will be very simple. I simply copy it, and now here in our particular dat position, here I want to pass as is married. Okay, sorry, it should be in one line. Is married, I want to make it as a false. Okay, when is married will be as a false, I want to get specific this user data. Okay, now if you want to check it, click as a save all. Now open the new terminal again, and here I want to run as a node. That is a node index. Now click as a enter. Now that should be get which user is married as a false. You can see is married as a false, also is married as a false, and also there is another one as is married as a false. Right now there is a 3 data, and now these 3 data is visible successfully. Okay, how you can get it, I hope it's very much clear to you. And also if you want to get only which user salary as 80,000, if you want to only get this data, you can also get it. Then you can add that another one, like here after this I take another one, that will be as a comma, and I want to put another query as a salary. Okay, salary, and salary I want to take which user salary as 80,000, only just simply get this user data. Okay, so if you want to get it, simply I click as a save all. Now that should be also get all which user data will be only as 80,000, and which user data is married as a false, then it will be get this data. Okay, if you go to the new line, that will be as a control C. Into the control C, now I want to run it again as a node and then index. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it's not perfectly get this data, this user that is married as a false and salary as a 80,000, and also there is another user is married as a false and salary as a 80,000. It's perfectly get both of these data. Okay, so when you use that as a find method, with this find method you will get all that your array data, and also there is another method as a find one. Okay, find one method. So find one is actually return one of the object data. Just simply remember it. Find method is return of the array data, and find one will be returned one of the object data, but both of these will be just like that same. And also there is another method as a find by ID. Okay, so I make it as a find, better I make it as a find by, okay, find by ID. That is also another method. So with this find by ID, if you want to get some of the specific ID, you can see there is also one of the ID, and that is our ID. So this ID is totally unique one of the name. If you want to get a specific this ID, you can get it. Like I want to copy this one. Okay, I copy this one. Better I copy it, or rather than I copy this one. I copy it, and now into the find by ID, here I want to add it. Okay, I want to simply add this now into the single quote. So I simply add it. Now that should be get only one data without this specific ID data. Okay, now if you click as a save all, and now if you go now Control C, I want to open another terminal. So now that is will be as a node index. Now click as a enter. Now that should be get only one data specific with this ID. Okay, it should be searched in our particular ID area. When it should be match this ID, then it should be get a specific this user data. Okay friend, I hope you get some of the idea how to add some of the query in your database, all the data, and how you can get some of the data with a specific your query. I hope it's very to share one things with you. I have changed my visual code editor theme. I think you will like it very much. Is now very interactive, right? So better right now from to this video I will actually use this theme. Now go back to our project. Like here before I have already discussed about one of the find method. Remember with this find method, if you want to find some of the specific data like is married, when this is married will be as a false, I want to get this data, right? So if you want to do that work, then what exactly we have to do here, there is a find method, and into this find method area I simply pass that name like as a, I name it as a is married, right? So that will be as a is married. I make it that is married, which is married as a false. Okay, which is married will be as a false. I want to get this data. Okay, before I have already discussed about that things with you. When you make it as a is married false, click as a save all, and now if you make it as a Control C, and I want to run it as a node index, right? There is a node index. If you click as a enter, now that will be get all that user data which user is married as a false, right? You can see it successfully get all the data like this user as is married false, he's married false, and also is married false. Right now they have the three user, so it successfully get this data. But I want to do only when this user is married will be as a false. That means when this user is unmarried, only I want to get that as a name and then salary. Both of this I want to take it. So in that case you have to use another method as a select method. Okay, so here we have to make it as a select. So I just simply added that select, and then I want to name it. I only want to take that name. There is a name field data and also the salary data. Okay, salary data. Simply I take both of these in here. Okay, now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all again, and now if you run it again as a node and then index, now click as a enter. Now that should be get that only that name and the salary. Also it should be get that ID, which is default actually comes from our database. That is our ID, and now you can say I selected as a name and then salary, and now a specific which user is unmarried. This unmarried user name and then salary, name and then salary is now visible. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. So now I want to change it. Like that is all that our data, right? I want to do when this user will be as unmarried, and this unmarried user I only want to do I want to get that everything without that name and without that salary. Okay, so how can do that work? For doing this is very easy. Only you have to use it as a minus. Okay, that is a minus name, and also there is a minus salary. So now both of these will be gone. Only it should be get rest of all that our database data. Okay, so it should be simply remove that name and then salary. Now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and after that I want to run it again as a node and then index. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it's now successfully get this data. That means it's now get that age, gender, is married, and also if they have no name and then salary. Okay, I hope it's very clear to you. And also if you want to sort this, like if you want to get this data by the ascending order, by the descending order, you can also do that work. For doing this I want to sort it by the salary. Okay, because into the salary they have some of the amount, so it should be get that our all that ascending order data, or rather than you can make it as a descending order. So first of all I want to get this as a ascending order. So for doing this, first of all I want to open that our name, and also want to open that our salary. Okay, I added both of this, and after that there is also another function as a short. So I make it as a short, so that will be the dot and then short. And into this short area I want to short by which field? I want to short by like as a salary field. Okay, I simply added that salary field. So now that will be get that as a ascending order data. Now if you click as a save all, and now if you go here, want to write again the node and then index. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it's now successfully get this data. So now it's actually get that by the ascending order. First of all, it's display the 25,000, and then the display is 80,000, and also there is 80,000. Okay, that is our ascending order data. So if you want to make it as a descending order, only you have to use that as a minus. Okay, when you use that as a minus, then that will be as a descending order. It will be query all the data. So it will be fetch all the data from to the database by the descending order. Like then that I show you that will be as a node and then index. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it's now perfectly get that our descending order data, that is 80,000 first, 80,000, and then it's display as a 25,000. And also if you want to fetch, like if you have that multiple data, if you want to add some of the limited data, like if you want to display only that limit some of the 2 data or 1 data or the 3 data, you can also put some of the limit. So friend, that's all will be very much important. It's very easy all that process, but you have to remember it because it will be needed. Okay, so that is our short how can get some of the selected data, how can get some of the specific short data. And now I want to discuss about that limit. So when our is married will be as a false, I want to get a specific some of the limit data. Right now they have the 3 data, right? You can see there's 1, 2, and then 3. I want to get that as a 2 data. So for the reasons here, I want to use another method as a limit. So that will be as a limit. That is a limit method. And to this limit area here, I only want to get that as a 2 data. Okay, so now that should be get that only 2 data. Now if you click as a save all, and now if you run it again as a node and then index, now click as a enter. Now you can see it's now successfully get only 2 data. There is 1 and there is our another one 2. So friend, as I told you, just simply remember all that method. There is a query all that method, there is a select, and there is a find method, there is a short, and then there is a limit. Okay, for now your job is to just remember all that functionality because everything will be needed. And also if you want to get that as a count document data, that means how many documents it should be get. If you want to get this, you can also do that work. Better right now I want to remove everything. I simply remove everything, and here after this there is also another method as a count document, count and then document. Okay, there is a count document. So if you run this method, then it will be count all that your value. Like if you now click as a save all, and now I want to run it, that will be as a node and then index. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it's now get that as a 3 data. So that is our counting. So counting is very much important when you actually working into the web front end. Then every functionality will be needed, friend, because some of the time you may get that a specific some of the search amount data, some of the time you may only display the count, how much product you have, how much search you have. So if you want to display this count, so there is another method as a count document method. I hope every part is very much better is used for, like as if you want to get some of the user a specific above 30 age data, then how can actually do that work? So then you will need that comparison operator, and they have the different type of comparison operator like as equal, not equal, greater than equal, less than and less than equal, in and then not in. Better I will show you that things with a live example. For doing this, like if you go to our database, and into the database there is the age as a 40, age as a 30, and then 35, 23, and then 60, and then 40, right? I only want to get that which user age as a above 30. I want to get this user data. So if you want to do that work, then you have to do like here right now, that is our is married find method, right? Count document, I simply remove it, and here there is a is married, I also want to do and to remove it. Okay, simply remove it. So I want to do and to get that our age data. Okay, so that will be the age, and then I want to get, first of all you have to add that as a $sign, and then our greater than, right? I want to get that our greater than, that means above that our 30. I want to get this above 30 user data. Okay, user age data. So I simply added that as a greater than, and then that is our age will be as a 30. So this user 30 data I want to do and to get it. So if you want to check it now, click as a save all, and now I want to run it. Okay, I want to run it in here, that will be our node and then index. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it successfully get which user data is above 30. Right now there is a age 40, 35, 60, okay, and then also the 40. It's all successfully get all that our user data which user age is above 30. And if you now go to our database, into this database also you can see there is one of the user age as a 30. Here I have make it only the greater than. So for the reasons it's not actually equal to our 30, right? So if you want to get that as a equal 30, that means if this user age as a 30 or greater than 30, then that will be actually get this data. For doing this, there is also another our comparison operator as a greater than equal. Right now I want to run it. Then that will be as a greater than equal. Now that should be also get that our 30 user data. That means right now I want to run it again. I want to run it with the node and then index. Now click as enter. Now you can see there is a 40, which is totally fine, 60 and 35, 40, and then you can see also it successfully get that our 30 is user data. Okay, so that is a greater than and then greater than equal. I hope it's very much clear to you. So same as that will be for the less than, right? That is a less than and then less than equal. Less than equal means if you use that as a less than, that will be get that a specific less than all the 30 user data. Like I show you, I make it as a less than. So if you make it as a less than, okay, I make it as a less than right now, less than 30. So it should be get all that which user data is less than 30, it should be get this user data. Now if you click as a save all, so right now I want to run it again. I want to run it again with the node and then index. Now click as enter. Right now they have only one user data which is less than 30. Okay, and if you make it as a less than equal, then also it will be get that as a our 30 data. Also there is another one as a less than equal. Okay, so that is our another comparison operator. Now that should be get that also the 30 user data and then 23, right? Now if you click as a save all, and now I want to run it again as a node and index. Now click as a enter. Now that should be 2 user. You can see you successfully get that as a 30 user data and also our age as a 23. Great. I hope now it's very clear. There is a greater than and greater than equal, less than and less than equal. And also there is another one as equal and then not equal. Equal and not equal means it should be check a specific sum of the age. Like here I make it as a not equal 30. Okay, when this user is will be not equal 30, only just simply get this user data. So if you now make it as a save all, and now if you make it as a again node index, now it should be get that our all data, only it should be not get equal 30 data, right? You can see it successfully get all the data, only the 30 age is not visible. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. And now there is also another comparison operator as a in and then not in. So with this in means if you want to get a specific this user a specific sum of the salary, like if you want to get that as a 25,000, 30,000 and then 40,000. Okay, so here there is a 25,000. If you go first of all to check it, like as a salary as 80,000, and then there is our 1 lakh and then 25,000, 40,000 and 45,000. So I want to get a specific this user a specific sum of the salary data. You can actually get it by the in, okay, in operator. I show you. Then you have to do, I want to search by the salary. So that will be as a salary, and into this salary area here I want to use it as a, that will be as a in. I make it as a in, and then here we have to use one of the object simple. I take it which type of salary I want to get that as a I want to get the like as a 25,000, 40,000 and 45,000. Okay, so I make it as a 25,000, and then I want to get that as a 40,000, and also I want to get that as a 45,000. Okay, so I simply get some of the specific salary data in here. Now if you click as a save all, and now I want to run it again. I want to run it with the node and then index. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it's now successfully get that which user salary as a 25, it successfully get it, which user salary as a 40, it successfully get it, and also which user salary as a 25, it successfully get it. So that is the specific all that value I set it in our salary. So it should be find in our salary area, and here it should be get all that match data, and now that is successfully visible. Okay, so you can get it by our this in operator. And also there is another one as a not in. Not in means it should be actually remove all that our salary, and it should be get rest of this salary. Okay, so that is the simple all that operator. I hope friend every comparison operator is very much clear to you. So if you want to add some of the advanced query, some of the conditional query, you can actually do that work with using this comparison. Another operator as a and or operator. With this and operator, like if you want to get some of the user data, which user is married as a true and which user age as a 30 or 60, if you want to get a specific this user data, then you can actually get it with the or operator. And also there is another one as a and operator. So that is simple a difference between both of these in our or operator. If we get a specific one data, then it will be get total data. But if you use that as a and, both of these should be as a match. Then you have to use it as a it should be check our age as a 60 or not, and also it should be check as a is married as a true or not. So when both of these will be matched, then that will be get this data. So that is a simple difference between or and the and. But I show you with the live example. For doing this right now, I want to do here, that is all that are common, but right now I also want to make it as a comment out. Okay, comment out, I copy it, and here I want to create new one. Literally that will be needed. I simply paste it. Okay, I simply paste it, and I want to make it as a comment out. I simply make it as a comment out. Okay, I simply make it as a comment out, and now I want to do, I name it one of the function name as a db. Okay, I name it as a db, and also we have to display this db. I simply display it, which is totally fine. There is asynchronous function. I take one of the user variable name as a user, await, and then our user model, because that is actually our user model, right? So I simply loaded this user model. So right now we don't need this. I simply remove it. I simply remove it. Okay, great. Now that is our user, and into this user area, now I want to change it here. Right now I want to remove everything. Okay, I simply remove it, and also there is a find, I remove it. Okay, so into this find, that is our user find. Into this user find method, here I want to add that our or method. So into this or, okay, into this or area, here we have to pass out two of this object name. Like here, first of all, that will be 2, right? I want to take which user is married as a true. That means that is actually our is married. Which user is married will be as a true. Okay, and also I want to add our another condition. Our another condition will be as a age. Age will be as a, I guess, a 30. That is a two things. It should be match. Now that will be our or operator. Okay, so with this or, now that should be first of all check our is married, this user is married is true or not. If we get that as a is married as a true, then that will be get this data, or it should be check as a age as a 30 or not. Okay, now if you want to display it, now I want to then display this user data. Now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now I want to run it. This is very easy, all that process. I want to run that node and then index. Okay, now click as enter. Now let's check this out if we get any data or not. Yes, you can see it's now successfully get some of the data, and this all that user as a is married as a false. But here you can see our age as a 30. As I told you, into this or method, it should be check both of these field data. It should be check our is married is true or not. If we get that as a is married is true, it should be get this data, or it should be check our age as a 30 or not. Then it should be get that our 30 is data. You can see in particular that area is married is false. That means this condition is not executable, but here that is actually executed. Like a age as a 30, you can see age 30 is now successfully get our total user data. And also there is another one here, that is a age as a 35, but is married is true. That means our this condition is appropriate, right? For the reasons you can see our age is not matched, but it gets this data. And same as here, our is married is true, it's get this data. And also here that is a is married is true, for the reasons it's get this data, but our age is not matched. I hope it's very much clear to you. But right now if you make it as a and, I make it as a and query. Okay, here that will be actually check both of these. That means both of these should be as a true. Is married when that will be as a true, and also age when that will be as a 30, then only it should be get this data. Both of these should be as a true. Now let's check this out. Click as a save all, and now if you make again as a node index, click as a enter. Now you can see it's now display empty because there have no such a user which user is married as a true and age as a 30. Because if you go to our database, into this database, like there is our 30 age, you can see for the 30 age there is only one as is married as a false. Okay, and also there is another one, but here right now I want to change it. I make this user as a 30. Okay, now that is 30 and is married as a true. For this user is married as a false. Now both of these should be matched. Now I want to click as update this data. Now age as a 30 and is married as a true. Now that should be display our this user all the data, right? Because both of these condition will be perfect, as is married will be as a true and age will be as a 30. Now let's check this out. Now if you run it again as a node and then index, now click as a enter. Yes, you can see it's now successfully get this data. Our age is matched and our is married is also as a true. I hope friend it's very much clear to you how to deal with it. Okay, what exactly the difference between or and then and operator. So with this or operator, if you have one condition true, then that will be get all the data, but when you use that as and operator, then both of these should be as a true. When both of these will be matched in our database, then that will be get this data. Okay, just simply remember all these functions are different. Okay, and also when you use that as a and actually as I told you that will be check both of these. You can also add the same condition in your find. For the reasons actually and is not important, like here if you want to add it, then only you have to do that will be our condition. Into this condition, this condition I want to add it in our find. Okay, into this find area you can also add it as a is married will be as a true, and then age will be as a 30, right? So I also want to add it in here. So right now we don't need this add. I simply remove everything from here. Okay, I simply remove it. Now that should be executed perfectly, because in our find I have already discussed about that things with you. Now that should be display our is married will be as a true, age will be as a 30. Both of these should be matched in our database. You can also use that things like that way. Our result will be just like that same. Here if you want to check it as a node index, now click as a enter. Right now you can see it's perfect. It will be check or is married as a true and then age as a 30. So when both of these will be matched, then that will be get this data. Okay, so I hope it's very much clear to you. Like here, that is all that our comment out, which is totally fine, and then only there is a method. Okay, here I want to do that work. So our problem is I want to find out those user whose age is greater than 40 or they are unmarried. So that is one of the or operator here we have to work. Then we have to find only the name and shorted them by the name. So that is the simple one of the problem now I want to solve. First of all, I want to get that our which user data is greater than 40 and also there is a unmarried. So there is on the or operator here we have to work. For doing this, that is our method. So into this method right now we don't need this. I simply remove it. So that is our find method, and into this find we have to run as a or, right? So into this or here, that will be the same logic we have to now apply. Okay, so I simply added that things in here. First of all, that will be as a 2 operator, right? That is a 1, and also I want to take another one, so that will be as a 2. So our first condition is age, so I make it as a age, which user age will be as a greater than 40, right? So that will be also as a, first of all, that is $, and then the greater than will be as a 40. I want to get this user data. Okay, so here it will be get this user data, and also there is another one is married. So our field name is and then married. So that will be is married. Is married will be as a unmarried. Unmarried means what? That will be as a false, right? So I make it as a false. So then that will be actually get this both of these data. Okay, perfect. Now that is our simple condition or area. That will be our when our user will be as a greater than 40 age and is married will be as a false. I want to get this user data, and into the console log area I want to print it. Okay, now if you click as a save all, and now if you print it, that will be as a node and the index. Now click as enter. Yeah, you can see it's now successfully get all that user data, which user, that is our one of the is married as a false, which is totally fine, is married as a false, and also it's get that all that our age data age will be as a greater than 40. But here you can see it's get both of these data because that is one of the or operator. For the reason it's our is married is perfect, is married is false, and also here you can see is married is false, but age is greater than 40. For the reasons here actually get all the data. Okay, and now I want to do our next work is find only the name. That means I only want to do that will be match, but here I only display this name. If you want to display this name, what exactly you have to do? After this we have to run that as a select, right? So that will be the select. So that is a select, and into the select I want to select by only the name. So that will be our name field, right? Now that should be get our this user name data. Now if you look at the save all, and now I want to run it again, and there's a node index, click as enter. Now you can see it's now successfully get only the name, that is Aryan, Kazi, and every name is now successfully visible. And also our next procedure I want to do to sort it by the name. Sorted by the name, as I told you before, if you want to get that ascending order data, if you want to get that descending order, you can also get it like here. After that only you have to call that our sort. So there is a sort method. I simply call it. I want to sort it by the whatever that actually you choose. Right now I make it by the name. Okay, it will be sorted by the name. Now if you click as a save all again, and now I want to run it as a node and then index. Now click as enter. Now you can see it's now sorted by the name as A, K, M, and then S. Right? If you want to make it as a descending order, only you have to make it as a minus name. Now click as a save all, and now if you run it again as a node index, now that will be actually, you can see it's now perfect display as S first, M first, then the K, and then the A. Right? So that is our sorting order. I hope friend it's very much clear to you how to deal with it. So it's simple, all that process. I simply put one of the condition is greater than 40. That means first condition is a greater than 40. That is our first condition as a greater than 40, and also unmarried. That means is married status should be as a false. Right? And then we get all that our user data, and we also added another operator as a select, and into the select area that will be as a name. I want to select by this name. For the reasons it's get that only name. If you want to sort this by ascending order, if you want to sort it by the descending order, how can do that work? I hope friend every part is very clear. So it's very easy all that process, but you should know about it. Okay, it's very core things. Literally every part, as I told you friend, everything will be needed, and in real life when you actually practice it, everything I hope you will face it in your real life. I want to discuss about if you want to update any data in your database area with a specific this ID, how can update it. Like right now in our particular this ID, there is married as a false. Right now I want to update this data. I want to make it as a true. If you want to do that work, you can update it in different way. Step by step I will show you. Like first of all I want to get this user data, and with this user I want to update our specific this field value. Let's do that work. For doing this we have to go to our right now here I want to do this work. Right now I remove everything. Okay, I remove everything. There is a await user, or I want to remove everything. Okay, but I remove it, and there is our DB. Perfect. So in particular that position, first of all we have to get that our user data. Right? If you want to get that user data, then that will be as a constant variable, and into this constant you want to name it as a user, and then also we have to use that as a await. That will be the await, and with this await our user, because I have already created our model name here as a user, right? Better I remove it right now. I simply make it as a clean. Now that is our user. Now with this user I want to use that our method. I have already discussed about that things with you. That is one of the find by ID method, because I want to get it our ID, right? I want to get this ID. So our ID, which ID you want to get? Like first of all I want to get this ID. Okay, I simply copy it from here, and now in particular that position I simply add that ID. So with this we'll get that a specific user ID, and I take that your user ID data in our this user. Right now I want to update, that is our user, and with this user I want to update our is married. Okay, is married field, that is married field data here. This data I want to update as a right now here that is actually is married as a false. I want to update it as a true. Okay, I make it as a true. I hope it's very much clear to you. And now we have to also send this information. That means we have to save it in our database. If you want to save it, then that will be as await into this await, and then our user this data I want to save with the save method. Okay, I simply added that save method. Now if you want to do that work, like it is a save all, and now I want to run our server as a here that will be as end node and then index. Now click as enter. Our server is database is connected, and now if you go to our database, and now if you that is actually the before that was as a is married as a false. I want to refresh this page. Yes, you can see a specific this ID is married is now become changed, and now that is true. I hope it's very much clear to you. And as I told you, there is also another options in the Mongos. Into this Mongos, there have also some of the building update methods. So with this, you can also update it. How can do that work? Better want to continue this process. In our next video, I will show you that things with a live example. The find by ID, our specific user ID data, and then I simply added our field name and I changed that value, right? And after that, when you save it, then that will be updated in our database. So now I want to update with another different way. I want to use it into these Mongos that have one of the different method as a find by ID and update method. Okay, with this we can actually do that work very easily. Like right now, a specific this user ID. Okay, with this ID I want to update that age, and also I want to change that is married status again as a false. So if you want to do that work, how can do it? For doing this, you have to do like that is our one of the another method. First of all, I want to call this method that will be as a find. Okay, find, that is one of the Mongo's default method, find by ID, delete, and you can see there find by ID and update. So that is a find by ID and update. With this method, I want to first of all get our specific ID. Okay, so that is our ID, and here after that I want to do here right now I want to remove it. Okay, close it. That is our DB method is started. Great. So after that I want to add which field data I want to update. Here you have to add it. Like I want to better make it into the another line. Okay, make it another line, then that will be actually helpful. Here I want to add another object. First of all, I want to update that age. Okay, I want to use that age right now in here as a 40. I want to make it as a 45. Okay, I make it as a 45. Now that should be updated as a 45, and also I want to update another one as is married status again. I want to change it as a false. Okay, right now here your is married status as a true. Right now I want to change it again to the false. And also you can add some of the another option. Okay, here you can also add some of the options like as a new, that is a new option. I want to make that new as a true. Okay, the new as a true, and also another one as a run validator. Okay, validator. So run validators, and run validators, when you make it as a true, then you can actually get some of the things in here. Like in our this schema, into this schema area, there have some of the field validation, right? So it should be checked that all that validation. So with this run validator, it will be check every validation. If you get any error, then that will be display all that error. So that is our another option. I make that as a new as a true, and this will be with this validator, it will be check all that our run validator. When you run it, if you get any error validation, it will be get all the validation in here. Okay, that it will be check it, are you appropriately add some of the value in here or not. Like for the age, that is one of the number type. If you want to make it as some of the string type, then automatically with this run validator, it will be check it, and it will be get some of the error. Okay, it will be show all that error in your console. So right now I better make it again as a 45, and is married status will be updated, and run validator. I hope you get some of the idea, because that is one of the age as a number type. It will be check is number or not. If you add any boolean type, if you add any string type, then it will be get all that error. Okay, so that's all you have to do. Now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, I click as a save all, and I want to run it again as a node index. Now click as a enter. Now you can see database is connected successful. And now if you go and here if you refresh this database, before our age as a 40 and is married as a true, right? Now click as a refresh. Yes, you can see it's now successfully updated as a age as a 25 and is married as a false. How can do that work, friend? I hope it's very much clear to you. That is one of the Mongo's default method as a find by ID and update method. So with this, you can actually update your all the database field very easily. Okay, simply understand and remember this part. I hope you like it very much. If you want to delete it, that means if you want to delete this data from your database, how can delete all the data in this video? I will show you that things with a live example. So there have the multiple different way you can actually delete it. One by one, I want to cover it. First of all, there is one of the method as a delete one method. Okay, so with this delete one method, we can delete it very easily. If you want to delete it right now, I want to remove everything. Okay, I simply remove everything. That is our function and that is our DB. Great. So here, first of all, we have to add that as a await and into this await and then our user, because that is our user model, and then I want to run our method as a delete. Okay, delete, you can say delete many method, and also there have another one as a delete one. So I will share both of this with you. Like I say, I use that as a delete one method. And into this delete one method area, here first of all you have to use your, I want to delete it by which things? I want to delete it by like as a this ID. Okay, I copy it. I want to delete it by this ID. So if you want to delete it, first of all you have to add that as a delete. That means that will be as a underline and then ID. Okay, and this ID, which ID you want to delete? I want to delete or this ID. I simply paste it in here. So that is the simple process you have to actually do. Okay, now with this automatically that will be deleted. If you now click as a save all, right now our data as a object as Aryan, right now that should be deleted. If you run it with the Control C, I want to do the node index. Now click as enter, database is connected successful. Now if you go here, now that should be gone. Now click as a refresh. Yes, you can see its data is now successfully deleted. It's totally permanently deleted from our database. Now that is actually 5. Okay, how can do that work? I hope it's very much clear to you. Now there is another method as a delete many. Delete many means if you want to delete multiple data at a time, like as a is married, when this user is married as a false, all that our false is married user I want to delete. Okay, so here that is actually the multiple one. For the reasons we have to do, we have to call our another method. Our method will be as a delete. Okay, delete many. Okay, with this delete many, I want to do which user is married. Okay, is married field is married. That is our married is married field. When this use married field will be as a false. Okay, I want to delete all the data. It should be check in our is married field which user is a false. It should be delete all that our user's data. Now I simply save it, click as a save all, and now I want to execute it again as a node index. Now click as a enter, database is connected, and now if you go to our database, all that our is married false data should be deleted, right? Now click as a refresh. You can see now only they have the is married as a true, is married true, and then is married true. All our previous is married false data is now successfully deleted from our database. And also there is another method as a find by ID and delete. That means it should be find a specific sum of the ID, and with this ID it should be deleted. Okay, so now there is another one, but I show you like that will be the find. Okay, find by ID. Find by ID. Here it's not suggested. Find by ID and okay and delete. You can see there is a find by ID and delete. So here only you have to do, you have to use it your ID name. Okay, so I simply loaded on the ID, like which ID you want to delete. I want to delete as a this one. Okay, I simply copy it. This ID will be as a Sharmina Afros, so that will be deleted. Now I simply added this ID in here. Now if you execute this file, click as a save all, and I want to execute it with the node. Sorry, that will be as a node and then index. Now click as a enter. Now database is connected, which is totally fine. If you now go, now this data should be deleted. Now click as a refresh. Yes, you can see the Sharmina Froze is now successfully deleted. So you can delete that in 3 different ways. I hope every part is very much clear to you. There is a find one, find many, and then find by ID and then delete. So friend, as I told you, every part will be needed. Every part is very important in JavaScript. You have to simply understand, you have to code with me, and you have to remember it. Okay, so that's all you have to do.
Includes
Nesse vídeo, você vai aprender.